Hi guys, Victoria here. This is my final presentation on self-care. I hope you guys enjoy it. Before I took this class, I thought I had an idea about what self-care was, but boy was I wrong. I had this preconceived notion that self-care was actually really difficult, that you had to plan out huge portions of your day to be able to accomplish it, and that you needed to figure out exactly what you were going to do, when you were going to do it, and how you were going to do it. So I'm going to give you guys a little insight onto what my daily life was like before I took this class. I would start every day by waking up around 8 a.m. and then driving to campus because I'm a commuter, and then from there I would start my daily classes. I'm going to be honest here. Because I'm an accounting major, sometimes my classes can get really difficult, and the sheer amount of difficult classes that I'm taking can really get overwhelming at points. After my classes ended every day, I'd get in my car and I'd drive to my internship. I just want to point out that that is definitely not my car, but I wish it was my car, so we're going to go with that one. So then every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'd be at my internship from 12 to 5 when they close. And then every Tuesday, Thursday, it wasn't quite as bad. It was 1:30 to 5, but I have longer classes on those days, so I can't start until then. After that, it's right back to my car to drive the 45 minutes back to my house. Then once I get to my house, I have to do all the homework that I have from all the classes I had during the day, since I couldn't do it earlier because I was at my internship. Sometimes I wouldn't get done with it until after midnight. But at least I was eating healthy, right? Wrong. The only time I could find places to eat between all of this was to stop at fast food places. And then I really liked desserts, so I'd eat those, and then at night while I did my homework, I'd have some wine or a drink. And somehow, I had over 6 hours of screen time on my phone every single day. That was almost 40% of my day. I don't even know when I found the time to do this, but my phone would notify me every single day that I have been over my screen time usage. And exercise. When would I have the time to do that? Between my classes, my work, my homework, and of course my screen time, I had no time to exercise. However, after taking this class, I was forced to dedicate time to do self care activities, and I realized it really wasn't as difficult as I thought. There are many different risks that I learned about in this class, but the ones that were most applicable to my current life and my future life were burnout, compassion fatigue, and workplace stress. The first risk I want to talk about is burnout. The reading that resonated most with me on this topic was Human Service Organizations. This article taught me that job burnout is defined by when an individual becomes strained and stressed because of their work, and it ends up resulting in a lack of motivation and an emotional depletion. I also learned that someone who is experiencing job burnout would tend to feel as if their work would be meaningless. They will feel as if they have no success in their job and that their progress is stifled. This article taught me that the physiological factors could include job satisfaction, happiness, and mental health. I also learned that the psychological factors could include general health, sleep disturbance, and neck and back pain. The behavioral problems it affects could include smoking, drinking, and physical activity. This article taught me that overall job burnout can happen to anyone, and when it does happen, it can affect all aspects of your life. The second risk that resonated with me was compassion fatigue. The article that I related to the most for this risk was Medsburg Nursing. While this article was centered around nursing, I felt like I could relate so much of what it said to my personal life as well as my work life. After learning about burnout, I assumed that these two terms meant the same thing, but that was actually not the case. I learned that the symptoms of this can be extremely physical. They can include stomach pains, headaches, exhaustion, and so many more that it's hard to even think about. The last risk I want to talk about is workplace stressors. I learned a lot from the Journal of Workplace Behavioral Health, which taught me that workplace stress can lead to heart disease, obesity, depression, decreased immune, and cognitive function. Glad that I know all the risks that I'll be facing once I join the workforce, and because I know the symptoms, I'll have a better understanding of how to stop these from occurring before they even start. Let's move to my journey throughout this course. I've grown a lot in a variety of areas after completing these readings and engaging in multiple self-care activities as well as with my peers. The first stop on my journey through this course is a spiritual one. The biggest way I grew in a spiritual aspect was through meditation, which I never thought I'd be able to do. I always thought that meditation was for people who had plenty of time on their hands, which I obviously didn't have. But after watching the TED Talk on meditation, I realized that you didn't need to have copious amounts of free time to meditate, and that it really isn't that hard. Since I watched that, I've started meditating in my daily life, and I love it. I feel more relaxed and way calmer, and it only takes a few minutes every day. The next step on my journey is a mental one. My mental health before I started this class was not the best. I thought I was okay, but I was so stressed out all the time that I was on the verge of a breakdown almost every day. After taking this class, I now have a better understanding of how to help myself and how the habits I previously had were harmful. I now make a cautious effort to think about my mental health and how whatever I'm doing will affect it. Then there's the emotional aspect. I've always been a very emotional person, and I was constantly on the verge of tears almost every single day. I'm now taking time for myself and making sure that my emotional health will be okay with every decision that I make. Overall, my emotional health is in the best shape it's been in years. I'm making way more good choices than bad ones, and I feel happier than I have in months. The next step is social well-being, and I've grown a lot in this aspect. I've managed to cut my screen time down to 3 hours a day, and that's freed up a lot of time for me to actually hang out with my friends and do things other than work. I now have a date night with my boyfriend every week, and my friends and I have designated one night each week to just hang out or go do something with each other. My social well-being is better than it's been all year, and it feels amazing. The last stop on our journey is that of physical well-being. Now that I have a full 3 hours of free time every day, I've started to work out with my boyfriend when he gets home from his job. This has helped me feel less sluggish, and while doing it, I feel great. I've also been using this free time to do some meal prep for the following day. I've cut out fast food entirely, and I only occasionally have sweets. I still have a glass of wine after a particularly hard day, but not every night like I had been doing. The last thing that I've done to help my physical well-being is I've started to go to bed at a more reasonable time, and I've stopped sleeping with the TV on. Both of these things have started to help me get a better night's rest and feel way more energized the next day. Overall, I feel better than I have in months. I'm eating healthier, seeing my friends, actually hanging out with my boyfriend, sleeping better, and I just in general feel better. I would say that this journey has been a success. The next thing I want to talk about is peer interaction. And honestly, in my opinion, this is one of the biggest parts of this course because you learn so much through interacting with your peers that it's hard to understand at first until you go back and reflect on what they actually taught you. I learned a lot through the discussion boards. The first thing I learned was that people can find different things important in the same reading. While responding to the discussion posts, I love seeing what other people were getting from these and how different viewpoints can help everyone get a better understanding of the same reading. I also learned a lot through the journals because everyone is so creative. They all had different ideas on what self-care was and different ways of accomplishing it, and the majority of them I never would have even thought of. Next is one of the most important parts of this, my commitment to myself. After taking this class and seeing just how easy it is to take care of yourself, I'm going to continue this practice into my daily life. I don't want to have a life where I have to worry about work at home, and I don't want to be burnt out at work. I want to have a life where I'm happy, healthy, and where I put myself first. I'm still going to help others when I can, but I'm going to do it when it's convenient to me and not every time someone needs something. I'm going to continue meditating, trying to reduce my screen time, eating right, and exercising. I love the new me that's arisen from these activities, and I don't ever want to revert back to the me of the past. The last thing I want to talk about is my actual self-care plan. I'm going to start by talking about physical care. My first goal for physical care is to exercise twice a week, which I can keep track of in a log. Then I want to get 10,000 steps every single day, which my Apple Watch will track for me. And I also want to eat 3 meals a day, which I can keep track of in an app on my phone. Next is psychological. For this, I want to do relaxing breathing twice a day, which my Apple Watch already does. And I also want to meditate at least once a day, which I can keep track of in a log. Then there's social. For this, I want to hang out with my friends and my boyfriend at least once a week, and both of them can keep me accountable for this. I also want to eat with my family at least 3 times a week, and they can be the ones to keep me accountable for that. Lastly is professional and academic. For this, I want to go to the library once a week to study by myself, which my calendar can keep track of for me. And I also want to go to a study group at least once a week, which my friends and my calendar can also hold me accountable for. Overall, I thought this was a really good class to take, and it really helped me emotionally and physically. I also loved meeting all of you, and I really liked meeting your dogs in the journals too, so I put a little puppy down here to say goodbye to you guys too. Thank you guys. Bye.